Miss Lily's intel had been right on the money. Dan Corver had been easy to take down with her help, and the UNS had just finished paying the bounty. Carla decided to have a quick look around his hideout. His body wouldn't be worth more than 3,000, so it was worth a look. The apartment was small and lay in the poorest part of Zulanka city, but there were a few niceties here. A decent holo projector worth maybe 400, and a few pieces of personal tech adding up to another 400. But under the bed was a plasma discharge rifle, highly illegal even for a bounty hunter. Carla called the police, providing her license details and reporting the find. Quickly gathering the valuables and grabbing the body by the collar, she headed for the hallway, barely exiting the apartment before hearing the sirens. Since the ambassador's massacre, the police in Zulanka had been fast to respond, fearing another such attack. It was only another minute before 4 armed officers arrived, 3 heading into the apartment, 1 stopping to take her statement. Despite their prompt arrival, it took an hour to deal with the gun and let her go, but finally she was able to head outside, signalling her ride as the elevator descended. Her share of the ambassador's bounty had afforded her a hover RV, top of the line and equipped as her base of operations. It landed outside the building just before she arrived, allowing her to climb aboard and get Dan's body stowed for sale. "Take me to Armand's." The RV silently obliged and took to the sky once more. It was a 15-minute flight, enough time to get herself cleaned up, taking off her body armour, in favour of a loose blouse and a slicker for the rain. It was that time of year. By the time she arrived, it was raining. Not heavy, but the fine kind that really gets into your fur. She hurried from the RV to Armand's, the warm and dry interior relief from the cold and wet. But the bar was different than normal. Everyone was looking at the big screen, the news loud enough for all to hear. Carla, like 2 others, had come in and just stopped, standing near the door, but watching the screen. The UNS was now at war. The news lag was 10 minutes, but fighting had only just begun. Images showed UNS battleships taking fire from giant kraken. The patrons murmured among themselves, most scared of what this would mean. Watching the screen for a while, she felt a sudden shiver up her spine. The kraken city of Hin was 5 kilometers off the coast of Zulanka, and Zulanka is a UNS city. She turned and headed out of the bar. Casting her eye to the coast road, the shoreline was battered with wind and waves, but there were kraken, dozens of them, emerging from the water and heading into the city. She'd never seen so many. Carla rushed back inside and headed for Mickey's booth. He didn't own it, but he always sat there. And he was, riveted to the news like everyone else. "Mickey, we have to go," Carla whispered with urgency. Mickey had known her long enough to obey, gathering his things and following her from the bar. Once they were out in the rain again, he could see the kraken. There were more now, still coming out of the ocean and heading into the city. Running to the RV, Carla and Mickey climbed aboard. "Get us out of here, head for helium." The RV took to the air and direct for the speed limit, forcing Mickey to grab onto the table, sliding into a seat. "What's going on?" Carla hadn't sat down. She was getting her armour on, while keeping an eye out of the windows, but she looked at Mickey for a moment before replying. "The Kraken are a united people. If the Venusian Kraken go to war with the UNS, so do all the other houses." Part of her wished she'd kept the plasma discharge rifle. It would have made her feel safer. She didn't have the strength or size of the ambassador, and didn't fancy her chances with a Kraken. She needed to get inland, away from the sea. As she finished fitting her armour, she could see flashes in the streets behind her, the definite sign that Zulanka was a war zone. She couldn't just fly away now. "Take us to Maze instead." The RV changed course, headed for the inland edge of the city, far from the fighting for now. But May was a friend and treated Carla like a part of the family. At 150 kph, it didn't take long to get there, landing directly outside. Carla leapt from the door and ran to the waiting light of May's front door. "May, get everyone on the RV. It's not safe to stay." Carla licked May's nose before pushing her inside. Philippa and their kids were already packing, so she pitched in, pushing everyone to rush. She even announced a 10-minute deadline, though in truth she had no idea how long it would take for the fighting to reach here. But quick and dutiful, May and her family were aboard within the arbitrary deadline. Carla, the last aboard, carrying May's pet parrot in its cage. "Everyone here?" Carla had to shout over the noise of 5 children and 3 adults. But confirmations came quickly, so she got the RV underway, out of the city and toward Helium.